Hello, welcome back to Twin Oaks Farm Poultry. It's Melissa, and I'm so glad that you're here. Thank you for joining me for Happy Birthday Chickies Part 5. We're doing about an 8-week series on this flock, following them from hatch to harvest, going from flock to fork in about 8 weeks. And it's kind of a neat opportunity right now. I'm going to go over the short wall here in our barn and show you some of these little birds. These are the same kind of birds, Cornish Rock Cross meat chickens, that are 5 days old. So in this pen, I'm going to try to scan the whole pen, but in this pen there are 230 Cornish Rock Cross meat chickens that we're raising. And like I said, they're 5 days old. So at 5 days old, one of the benchmarks that we can see is they're getting their wingtips, their feathers on their wingtips. You can see the white on their wingtips. That's their feathers coming in. And you probably can't tell there, but they're also getting some of the white feathers coming in above the tip of the base of their tail. So it's just amazing, though, to acknowledge that we're going to see chicks like this at 5 days old, and in just a short time, at 5 weeks old, they're going to look like this size. So it's just simply amazing, the rate of growth and the efficiency that these Cornish Rock Cross meat chickens grow with, and that's why they are the most popular meat birds in America. Most of the chicken breast packages and chickens that you buy at the grocery stores and supermarkets in America come from Cornish Rock Cross meat birds. They are really efficient birds for meat production. And so, as I said, we are looking at a flock here that is 5 weeks old, and basically in appearance, a Cornish Rock Cross meat chicken at 5 weeks old, you're seeing it. This is basically also what a mature Cornish Rock Cross meat chicken looks like. So by 5 weeks old, they've pretty much grown almost to the size they're going to get, and they're well feathered in generally at this point. Here's a hen, a Cornish Rock Cross hen. There's a group of some sitting there. So we've had the barn doors open today. We like to get our barn doors open. The activity level of a Cornish Rock Cross meat chicken at 5 weeks old basically consists of what you're seeing here. They get up to go to get water, and I've got some over there at the feeder. They get up to go to the feeders, and other than that, they pretty much want to find a place where they feel like the temperature is comfortable, and they just want to park it and rest. And they'll go to food and water about every 4 hours, and they kind of just do that on a cycle. So these birds have been up to eat and drink, and they're basically resting now. Now, we started out with 100 in this flock, and we're at about 90 now. And one of the things that is a very common complication with Cornish Rock Cross meat birds is that their hearts struggle to keep up with the growth. And actually, I have one bird right now that I want to show you. He's resting now, but he has been up to eat and drink, and it's this birdie here, and it's kind of hard to tell what I'm looking at, but see, he's alert, he was responsive, but you can see his comb and his wattles and his skin, it's all going to almost a purple color, whereas we typically see a healthier pink color. Like here you can see that's, oh, sorry, birdie, that's not as purple. It's more of a healthy pink. And so that's a concern for this bird. There's not a lot we can do to intervene or reverse this, but I would look at him, and the indications basically express that he's probably having some complications with his heart keeping up with the amount of growth. And so we're going to keep an eye on him, because, you know, we wonder, like with him, is he going to make it another week to the processing date? You know, I don't know. I hope that he does. We have had birds and seen birds that they present those indications and we worry about them, but they end up making it. So we try to keep everything calm in the barn and not let them get too overzealous and worked up, and that seems to help that. So at any rate, that is something that you're going to run into if you raise Cornish Rock Cross meat birds. That's a good view of how much meat, you know, we tend to see like in the drumsticks and the thighs. And then with this one standing here, well, he sat down now, but you can kind of tell how heavy the chicken breast is. We see a lot of meat in the chicken breast on these birds as well. And actually in America, there are three strains of Cornish Rock Cross meat birds, and each one is a little bit specialized. Like some get heavier in the chicken breast, some get heavier in the drumstick, and one of the strains is more of a balanced bird. So that's kind of interesting. Now, two things about raising Cornish Rock Cross I wanted to mention before we wrap up the video is, first of all, our number one tip, and we learned this the hard way, have your processing plans in place for your birds before you even get those cute little chicks. Because what you're going to have happen if you raise Cornish Rock Cross meat birds is you're going to get these birds and they're going to grow so fast that before you know it, they're going to be ready to go to the processor. And if we don't have our plans in place, we're going to have a bunch of birds on our hands that need to be processed and not have anything ready for them. And then as time goes on, it just gets harder and harder for them to continue to survive. So you want to have those processing plans in place. And I know one of our early flocks, we did not intend to process them and have to butcher them ourselves, but we didn't have processing plans in place, and then we couldn't get a processor. Nobody had time to do them, so we ended up butchering 81 chickens ourselves when we didn't really plan on doing that. So get your processor lined up. Second thing is feeding Cornish Rock Cross chickens at 5 weeks old. We hear a lot of advice given to like remove the feed from the pen at night. We don't do that. We leave our feeders in 24/7. Sometimes we do let them empty them, eat them down to nothing, but we have found and observed that if you pull those feeders out, when their feeders are gone and they're wanting feed, they get so hungry that when you bring them back in, they're so ready to eat, they just turn into a bunch of piranhas, and it's like a feeding frenzy. So it's really better to leave the feeders in place, and we tend to use the lighting more to control, to encourage or discourage them getting up and down to go eat, because light really stimulates chickens to be active. So if you turn the lights on bright, you know, they're going to be more active. So what we are doing actually is dimming our overhead lights in the barn way down over the evening, and that kind of discourages them from hitting the feeders too hard. So this is what 5-week-old Cornish Rock Cross meat birds look like and how they behave. And this is all very, very typical, common behavior and appearance of them. So we appreciate you joining us at Twin Oaks Farm Poultry, and please join us again for the other videos in this series. We'll see you again.